Before I start this video, please check out our new podcast, Kicking It with Jalen, that's coming soon. Please check it out when it comes out. I'll let you know when it comes out. I'll appreciate it. And please like and subscribe and show your support. I would appreciate it. I've been working really hard on these and I really would like the support. So this is where we go to the other parts of the Barney costume performers. And this time, David Joyner couldn't do a tour, and Carrie Stinson was already chosen to be the number one part of the tour. And David Voss, of course, isn't Barney anymore. He's just another cast member. So they needed someone else to do the understudy for the tour. So right now we're going to talk about Josh Barton. Josh Barton was from Louisiana and moved to Dallas when he was going to try to go into acting. He went to LSU but decided to then leave and just go to Dallas or go anywhere to just pursue an acting career. With his father's support, he got all that he needed as far as knowledge to be a good actor. He moved to Dallas when he was probably 20 or 21 years old, I think, and he went to acting school for 2 years. And then at that time, he was doing some comedy sketches like with SNL or something like that. Not exactly he was with SNL. He was doing some comedy skits with friends and stuff that was kind of like SNL or more R-rated stuff than what he ended up doing. But he did have experience playing football and soccer, and he did, I think, did puppets and a costume character one time. But after he graduated acting school, the thing was that he was living with his now, I guess, co-worker or fellow voice actor on the same apartment complex, and I think in the same room. So he didn't have any money, so he wanted to work pretty bad. So when he graduated acting school, they took care of him during acting school, and he often got taken care of. But after he graduated acting school, he got an audition, and one of them was for, of course, Barney. Before I continue, he was Barney from 1996 to I think 2009, if I'm not mistaken. He wasn't so excited about the audition, not because it was a children's character. Well, it was never on his radar, and he wanted to do a lot of more adult entertainment. But he tried it out anyway because he didn't have a job, and this was an opportunity. So he went and did it, not thinking much of it, and only because his agent told him that he needed to do it. So he went over, did the audition, danced around to the theme song, and that's what they told him to do when he did it. He left the audition not thinking much of it either, and he came back and did it again, except he got to get inside the costume to do it. And because he wasn't used to the weight and the heat of the costume and the demands of moving the mouth and jumping around, he did the same audition again, except when he got out, he started wheezing and coughing and acted like he was okay. But they told him that in order for him to be better and get the job, he needed to lose 10 pounds in a week and get in shape and learn the choreography. So he ate chicken and rice for every meal and rode around Dallas on a bike. Rode on his bike all over Dallas. Plus, that chicken and rice was all he could afford as well. And he got the videotape of the Radio City live show just to study Barney's character movement. He really couldn't understand it. He couldn't understand it because David Joyner was so fast in the costume in that show, and he's very fast anyway. It looked kind of weird to Josh Barton because he just thought, oh, he's just jumping. He's just running around. I don't understand. What choreography am I supposed to do? His movement teacher at the acting school he was at explained that these were just steps and dancers. That dancers do. Like bell kicks, 360s, shuffle, a lot of dance terms. So he quickly learned that, and he did the audition again back in the costume, and he was fine. The problem was he was going up against three professional dancers. But a good thing for him is But all three of those dancers were claustrophobic and couldn't handle the costume. So Josh Barton got the job. He got the job. He was told that this was for a world tour. He would get paid, not only that, but he would have fun. And it showed. He really did have a good time playing Barney, even though it wasn't the first thing he wanted to do. So he was Carrie Stinson's understudy in the national stage tour. The very first stage tour, by the way, Barney's Big Surprise, like I talked about in the other video. So yeah, Carrie Stinson was the lead Barney on this show, and Josh Barton was his understudy. So and they worked together and they got along pretty well, and Josh Barton was really good in this show. Josh Barton talked about how heavy the suit was and how you had to literally crank your body to do a spin and a jump, learn to move with the mouth, and just make sure everything just moves well without getting hurt. He also explains the limited visibility where if you jump, you gotta almost hope that you land. So Josh Martin did the show whenever Carrie was either unavailable or needed to rest. And he did parts of the show while Carrie was doing the rest of it. But Josh Martin brought a lot of energy to his performances and did the best he could with the character. There were times when he did the number one part as Barney, and there were times that Carrie did the number one part as Barney. They just took turns doing it because it was such a physical job. And there was one time when they did the show in Mexico, Josh Martin got hurt, so Carrie had to do the entire thing. And at that time, they started wearing winter silks underneath the suits. This was how it worked. Was that they had Carrie Stinson inside the suit during the first half of the show, and during that half, there will be times when Barney has costume changes, where Barney steps off stage and comes back on with a farmer's hat or a violin or on a hot air balloon, and maybe him driving a car, so they wouldn't have trouble of just putting a hat on Barney or just putting him in a car or in a hot air balloon that's supposed to be a prop on stage. They can just have another actor wear another Barney suit doing this, and Carrie could get some rest since he's been on the stage, or whoever's playing Barney at the time can change with somebody else. He often helped the roadies or the people who were working on the show, help load stuff and stuff like that. Leads to his career earlier on or later on, is he just started doing funny voices, which we'll get to later on. Kind of lighten the mood and just get ready for the road and just have fun, because he's actually a voice actor now. Times that Carrie, Josh, and maybe other performers meet celebrities while they're touring around and playing Barney. They met this person from this rock show. I think Carrie has met John Travolta and other people. And yeah, even after a show, that both shows will be playing near each other. A rock show and a Barney show will be playing near each other. And after the Barney show, the cast and crew, since one of the crew knew somebody from a rock show, gets to get tickets to like Rolling Stones or U2 or something like that because they have connections to it. Before, when either him or Carrie or is Barney and they jump through the curtain, the audience screams like it's actually a rock concert, and it's crazy. And that's called a pop in the business of entertainment. Josh really liked the Barney job, not because it paid well and he wasn't broke anymore. It was because he was actually learning to be an actor and a performer, and he's figuring things out as life goes along. And you can tell he really enjoyed it and really liked Barney and the crew that he was working with. And it showed pride in his work too. And it came a long way from him being just a young guy to actually being a performer of events on and off the tour, like this baseball thing. I don't know exactly what that was about. Josh Martin went to a couple of hospitals as Barney just to meet some kids and help lighten their day, especially going through hard times. It was also hard for them because most of them have never seen kids like this before, and it's really a touching moment. His big surprise tour ended. Carrie Stinson continued the tours with Musical Castle with Antwaun Steele as his understudy, and David Joyner was off to Canada to film the movie. So Josh Martin came in as a fill-in just to film a couple of episodes for seasons 4, 5, and 6. Well, one of those seasons, I think. Also, one interesting thing Martin was on Barney. He got an award. I think he got an Oscar for being on the TV show, so that was cool. Josh Martin got an Oscar for being on Barney. You could tell he was trying to get adjusted to the suit and the live voice around him. I also think he may have gotten a kid or got married around this time, a little later, so his daughter often went to the set. But of course, when she was little, she wanted to see Barney, but since he was Barney, Barney couldn't be around when she was around. That was fun. It's also important that there were a lot of times when he was out on the road as Barney, people were like, well, can you just put your suit in the suitcase and meet me? And he tried to explain how hard all this would be. Or can you put the suit on and say hi to my kid? That's just ridiculous, especially if you don't understand how things work in a professional sense. Also, during a filming of an episode, Good Clean Fun, uh, there was an incident that happened with Josh Martin. They were about to film, and he thought that everything was going well, but as the camera started rolling, he had a fan on because I think they were just practicing, if I'm not mistaken. He turned the fans on inside the costume. I think they were practicing, and he was told to take one step as a choreography to a song, and he thought a special effect that Scooter the Squirrel was gonna pop popcorn, and that the joke was that Scooter burned the popcorn. But actually, what happened was when Josh was moving, he inhaled smoke and he thought that it was okay, there was nothing going on, so he tried to move again and he just kept coughing and wheezing and seeing smoke. Started coming through the mouth and out of the fleece, and he started running around trying to say, get this thing off of me, and he was freaking out, so he had to yank it off him, and people tried to help him get the suit off, and the suit was just on fire, started smoking, and he had to get called to the hospital, even though he was too confused because he thought he was in good shape and he was young and he didn't know what was going on. People were trying to tell him just to settle down and relax, and he just sat down and relaxed, and then an ambulance came and got him. But this was the days where they had scanners, so pretty much news stations and everybody figured out what happened with Barney. Fire news stations, fire departments, police stations. And he was also still in his winter silks too. So he got taken to the hospital, but they had to change routes to another hospital because people knew or found out what hospital he was going to be at, and they wanted to interview him because people wanted to, of course, figure out who was inside the suit. So they switched hospitals, and then when he went in, people started looking at him, and they were like, "So you're Barney, huh?" And he's like, "No, my name is Josh. I'm here for smoke inhalation." And then the lady at the front said, "Well, can you take a photo and so I can send it to my kid?" And he just started saying, "What are you gonna do? Tell your kid or whoever that this guy is Barney?" I don't think he's gonna buy it, but he said he was okay. It wasn't much of nothing. Even Josh's mom checked on him, and he just got the day off. But yeah, that was interesting. At this point, Josh was doing Barney on and off. He was voice acting for Dragon Ball Z. He had a Beastie Boys Cupid band, and he was doing other stuff, but doing Barney whenever he was needed. And he also played other characters on the show besides Barney. There were a couple of occasions where he did come back as Barney, because he did Barney from 1996 to 2009, and after 2009, I think he parted ways with the company. He did the 20th anniversary tour with Barney, where he goes to different Toys R Us's and you get to take pictures with Barney. And also he did the home video, a part of a home video of Let's Make Music for most of the scenes, and after that, uh, that was just it for his time as Barney. From the Ram to Cookie Monster Sesame Street Live to Barney the Dinosaur in a live stage production. Antwaun Steele, a dancer, a performer, and a costume performer who played Barney from, I guess, 1999 to, I guess, 2011. And he started with Barney's Musical Castle. So he is very energetic, a very good dancer. I'm assuming this is him in the suit and not Carrie. But Carrie was also in the show as Barney, but Antwaun Steele can dance. And he's probably up there with David Joyner as far as good Barney performers. I'm not saying this because he's black and he's in Barney, but this guy's very good. And him being a professional dancer, it shows. Now he does bob Barney a little bit, like with the mouth, the way he moves the mouth, but that's fine. So Carrie Stinson was the number one Barney in the show, and he was the number two when Josh left to do the TV show. So he was very good. There's not a lot of information on him, but all I know was that he did this show and he was very, very good. One of his advantages was that he did mascots and costume shows on tour before, so that was cool. This is also funny, David Voss next to two knockoffs while he was on tour. And it looks so awful. Baby Bop is droopy and Barney, I don't know what's wrong with him. Looks like claymation, something like that. But yeah, this was just on tour. I'm guessing if a show was in town in Mexico or somewhere like that, then there were a lot of knockoff brands and sales around near the theater that whatever show was playing. I wonder why they didn't sue. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. Okay, back to the real topic. One thing to also note that the Wiggles were on tour with Barney around this time. From what I know, he wanted Barney to have really, really good moves. And it showed also because not only he was a dancer, but this was a heavy costume. He also did the Macy's parade as Barney, and he also did one video or episode, Barney's Pajama Party. No dancing though. A lot of the songs were just clips from other episodes. He didn't play Barney again until 2011. He was almost going to take over David Joyner's place when David Joyner left, and he was going to be doing the TV show. Antwaun Steele was going to be Barney on the TV show, but Carrie Stinson got it. I'm still wondering about that. He got a chance to play Barney again for the last time in the stage tour by V Corporation, the owners of Sesame Street Live, Barney's Birthday Bash. The show was very different. It was a concert party. It was centered on Barney's birthday. A lot of the songs were remixed into modern music. And yeah, now I like it in my opinion, but a lot of people thought the show was very different because of the costume design change from the TV show version to the cartoon version that they had at the time for promotion sales, and they decided that they were going to change the costumes back to the original ones from the show, the TV show, because people just didn't like the ones that they designed for the show specifically. And yeah, I thought it was very good. The dancing was good. Antwaun Steele was moving it. It was basically a concert. Now, someone else was his understudy. I don't know who the person was or anything about him, but Antwaun Steele did a fantastic job as Barney in this show, despite all of the negative reviews of the way the costume looked. And I don't know if people would complain about it being too long or the music just being more of a modernized content. But yeah, this was very good. I actually like this. And I wouldn't mind seeing the show actually coming back because this is Barney in modern day. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had a lot to do with the choreography and how just the dancing in the show was done since he was a professional. There's not much about him anymore. I don't know a lot of information about him, but this show was his last time playing Barney. I don't know what he does now. Please like and subscribe. I have fun sharing this history with you. We have a podcast coming up, Kicking It with Jalen, with me and my friends. Kicking It with Jalen and friends. And yeah, please like and subscribe. I worked very hard on doing these things, and stay tuned.